Hello students, this is Rajeshwari. Today we'll discuss about DNA DNA replication, recombination and repair. So we'll know in details. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid is a macromolecule that carries genetic information from generation to generation. It is responsible to preserve the identity of the species over millions of years. DNA may be regarded as a reserve bank of genetic information or a memory bank. A single mammalian fetal cell contains only a few picogram of DNA, that means 10 to the power minus 12 g gram of DNA. It is surprising that this little quantity of DNA stores information that will determine the differentiation and every function of an adult animal. Now, let's know about why did DNA evolve as genetic material. RNA molecules in principle can perform the cellular function that are carried out by DNA. In fact, many viruses contain RNA as a genetic material. Chemically, DNA is more stable than RNA. Hence, during the course of evolution, DNA is preferred as a more suitable molecule for long-term repository of genetic information. The central dogma of life. Let's know about the central dogma of life. The biological information flows from DNA to RNA and from there to proteins. This is the central dogma of life. It is ultimately the DNA that controls every function of the cell through protein synthesis. As the carrier of genetic information, DNA in a cell must be duplicated or replicated, maintained and passed down accurately to the daughter cells. Three distinct processes are designed for this purpose. The three Rs of DNA replication, recombination and repair. Three Rs means one is replication, recombination, second is recombination and third is repair. So these are the three things in DNA. So there are certain common features between the three Rs. They act on the same substrate DNA. They are primarily concerned with the making and breaking of phosphodiester bonds. Enzymes used in the three processes are mostly similar. Now let's know first is replication. Let's know about the replication of DNA. DNA is the genetic material. When the cell divides, the daughter cells receive an identical copy of genetic information from the parent cell. Replication is a process in which DNA copies itself to produce identical daughter molecules of DNA. Replication is carried out with the high fidelity which is essential for the survival of the species. Synthesis of a new DNA molecule is a complex process involving a series of steps. The silent features of replication in prokaryotes are can be identified in some recent information on the eukaryotic replication. Let's know about first is prokaryotic and eukaryotic replication. First is replication of prokaryotes. Here replication in semi-conservative, that means the parent DNA has two strands complementary to each other. Both the strands undergo simultaneous replication to produce two daughter molecules. Each one of the new synthesized DNA has one half of the parental DNA. This type of replication is known as semi-conservative, since half of the original DNA is conserved in the daughter DNA. The first experimental evidence for the semi-conservative DNA replication was provided by Michelson and Stahl in 1958. Now let's know about initiation of replication. The initiation of DNA synthesis occurs at a site called origin of replication. In case of prokaryotes, there is a single site, whereas in eukaryotes there are multiple sites of origin. These sites mostly consist of a short sequence of A-T base pairs. A specific protein called DNA capital A, that is 20 to 50 monomers, binds with the site of origin for replication. This causes the double-stranded DNA to separate. Now let's know about replication bubbles. The two complementary strands of DNA separate at the site of replication to form a bubble. Multiple replication bubbles are found in eukaryotic DNA molecules, which is essential for a rapid replication process. Now let's know about RNA primer. For the synthesis of new DNA, a short fragment of RNA is required as a primer. That is about 5 to 50 nucleotides, variable with species. This primer is synthesized on the DNA template by a specific RNA polymerase called primase. A constant synthesis and supply of RNA primers should occur on the lagging strand of DNA. This is in contrast to the leading strand, which has almost a single RNA primer. DNA synthesis is semi-discontinuous and bidirectional. Let's know about this. The replication of DNA occurs in 5' to 3' directions simultaneously on both the strands of DNA. On one strand, the leading strand, the DNA synthesis is continuous. On the other strand, the lagging strand, the synthesis of the DNA is discontinuous. Short pieces of DNA, that means 15 to 250 nucleotides, are produced on the lagging strand. In the replication bubble, the DNA synthesis occurs in both the directions, bidirectional. This is bidirectional from the point of origin. Now let's know about replication fork and DNA synthesis. The separation of the two strands of parent DNA results in the formation of a replication fork. The active synthesis of DNA occurs in this region. The replication fork moves along the parent DNA as the daughter DNA molecule are synthesized. DNA helicases. Let's know about DNA helicases. These enzymes bind to both the DNA strands at the replication fork. Helicases move along the DNA helix and separate the strands. Their function is comparable with a zip opener. Helicases are dependent on ATP for energy supply. Now let's know about single-stranded DNA binding proteins. That is, in short, SSB, single-stranded DNA binding protein. These are also known as DNA helix destabilizing proteins. They possess no enzyme activity. SSB proteins bind only to single-stranded DNA, keep the two strands separate, and provide the template for new DNA synthesis. It is believed that SSB, that means single-stranded DNA binding proteins, also protect the single-stranded DNA degradation by nucleases. Now let's know about DNA synthesis catalyzed by DNA polymerase 3. 2 is completed, now 3. The synthesis of a new DNA strand catalyzed by DNA polymerase 3 occurs in 5' to 3' direction. This is antiparallel to the parent template DNA strand. The presence of all the 4 deoxyribonucleoside triphosphates, that is D-ATP, small d ATP, small d G ATP, small d CTP, and small d TTP is an essential prerequisite for replication to take place. The synthesis of two new DNA strands simultaneously takes place in the opposite direction. One is in a direction towards the replication fork, which is continuous, and the other in a direction 5' to 3', away from the replication fork, which is discontinuous. In the incoming deoxyribonucleotides are added one after another to 3' end of the growing DNA chain. A molecule of pyrophosphate is removed with the addition of each nucleotide. The template DNA strand determines the base sequence of the newly synthesized complementary DNA. Polarity problem. Let's know about polarity problem. The DNA strand with its 3' end 3' OH oriented towards the fork can be elongated by sequentially addition of new nucleotides. The other DNA strand with 5' end presents some problem, as there is no DNA polymerase enzyme that can catalyze the addition of nucleotides to the 5' end of the growing chain. That means that is 3' to 5' direction. This problem, however, is solved by synthesizing this strand as a series of small fragments, and these pieces are made in the normal 5' to 3' direction and later joined together. Now let's know about Okazaki pieces. The small fragments of the discontinuously synthesized DNA are called Okazaki pieces. These are produced on the lagging strand of the parent DNA. Okazaki pieces are later joined to form a continuous strand of DNA. DNA polymerase 1, and DNA ligase are responsible for this process. Now let's know about proofreading function of DNA polymerase 3. Fidelity of replication is the most important for the very existence of an organism. Besides its 5' to 3' directed catalytic function, DNA polymerase 3 also has a proofreading activity. It checks the incoming nucleotides and allows only the correctly matched bases to be added to the growing DNA strand. Further, DNA polymerase edits its mistakes and removes the wrongly placed nucleotide bases. Now let's know about replacement of RNA primer by DNA. The synthesis of new DNA strand continues till it is in close proximity to RNA primer. Now the DNA polymerase 1 comes into picture. It removes the RNA primer and takes its position. DNA polymerase 1 catalyzes the synthesis of a fragment of DNA and replaces RNA primer. The enzyme DNA ligase catalyzes the formation of a phosphodiester linkage between the DNA synthesized by DNA polymerase 3 and the small fragments of DNA produced by DNA polymerase 1. This process, nick sealing, requires energy provided by the breakdown of ATP to AMP and PPI. Another enzyme, DNA polymerase 2, has been isolated. It participates in the DNA repair process. Now let's know about supercoils and DNA topoisomerases. As the double helix of DNA separates from one side and replication proceeds, supercoils are formed at the other sides. The formation of supercoils can be better understood by comparing DNA helix with two twisted ropes tied at one end. Hold the ropes at the end. Hold the ropes at the tied end in a fixed position and let your friend pull the rope apart from the other side. The formation of supercoils is clearly observed. The problem of supercoils that comes in the way of DNA replication is solved by a group of enzymes called DNA topoisomerases. Type 1 DNA topoisomerases coats the single DNA strand to overcome the problem of supercoils and then reseals the strand, and that is ligase activity. It is ligase activity. Type 2 DNA topoisomerase coats both strands and reseals them to overcome the problem of supercoils. Now let's know about replication in eukaryotes. Replication of DNA in eukaryotes closely resemble that of prokaryotes. Certain differences, however, exist. Multiple origins of replication is a characteristic feature of eukaryotic cell. Further, at least 5 distinct DNA polymerases are known in eukaryotes. Greek letters are used to number these enzymes. First, DNA polymerase alpha. DNA polymerase alpha is responsible for the synthesis of RNA primer for both the leading and lagging strands of DNA. Second is DNA polymerase beta. It is involved in the repair of DNA. Its function is comparable with DNA polymerase 1 found in prokaryotes. Third is DNA polymerase gamma. This enzyme participates the replication of mitochondrial DNA. DNA polymerase polymerase delta is responsible for the replication on the leading strand of DNA. It also possesses proofreading activity. Now fifth is DNA polymerase epsilon is involved in DNA synthesis on the lagging strand and proofreading function. The difference in the DNA replication between bacteria and human cells attributed to the enzyme are successfully used in antibacterial therapy to target pathogen replication and spare the host cells. That means human cells. Okay, so let's know about process of replication in eukaryotes. The replication on the leading strand of DNA is rather simple, involving DNA polymerase delta and the sliding clamp called proliferating cell nuclear antigen PCNA. PCNA is so named as it was first detected as an antigen in the nuclei of replicating cells. PCNA forms a ring around DNA to which DNA polymerase delta binds. Formation of this ring also requires another factor, namely replication factor C, RFC. In short, RFC. The replication on the lagging strand in eukaryotes is more complex when compared to prokaryotes or even the leading strand of eukaryotes. The parental strands of DNA are separated by the enzyme helicase. A single-stranded DNA binding protein called replication protein A, RPA, binds to the exposure single-stranded template. This strand has been opened up by the replication fork, and the enzyme primase forms a complex with DNA polymerase alpha, which initiates the synthesis of Okazaki fragments. The primase activity of Pol alpha primase complex is capable of producing 10 base pair RNA primer. The enzyme activity is then switched from primase to DNA polymerase alpha, which elongates the primer by the addition of 20 to 30 deoxyribonucleotides. Thus, by action of Pol Alpha primase complex short stretch of DNA attached to RNA is found, and now the complex dissociates from the DNA. The next step is the binding of replication factor C, RFC, to the elongated primer short RNA DNA. RFC serves as a clamp loader and catalyzes the assembly of proliferating cell nuclear antigen molecules. The DNA polymerase delta binds to the sliding clamp and elongates the Okazaki fragment to a final length of about 150 to 200 base pair. By this elongation, the replication complex approaches the RNA primer of the previous Okazaki fragment. The RNA primer removal is carried out by a pair of enzymes, namely RNase H and flap endonuclease 1. FENI. This gap created by RNA removal is filled by continued elongation of the new Okazaki fragment. The small nick that remains is finally sealed by DNA ligase. Eukaryotic DNA is tightly bound to histones to form nucleosomes, which in turn organize into chromosomes. During the course of replication, the chromosomes are relaxed and the nucleosomes get loosened. The DNA strands separate for replication and the parental histones associate with one of the parental strands. As the synthesis of new DNA strand proceeds, histones are also produced simultaneously on the parent strand. At the end of replication of the two daughter chromosomal DNAs formed, one contains the parental histones while the other has the newly synthesized histones. Now let's know about inhibitors of DNA replication. Bacteria contain a specific type 2 topoisomerase, namely gyrase. The enzyme coats and reseals the circular DNA and thus overcomes the problem of supercoils. Bacterial gyrase is inhibited by the antibiotic ciprofloxacin, novobiocin, and nalidixic acid. These are widely used as antibacterial agents since they can effectively block the replication of DNA and multiplication of cells. These antibacterial agents have almost no effect on human enzymes. Certain compounds that inhibit human topoisomerases are used as anti-cancer agents. Example: adriamycin, etoposide, rubicin. The nucleotide analogs that inhibit DNA replication are also used as anti-cancer drugs. Example: 6 mercaptopurine and purine, 5 fluorouracil. Now let's know about cell cycle and DNA replication. The cell cycle consists of 4 distinct phases in higher organisms, that is mitotic, G1, S and G2 phases. When the cell is not growing, it exists in a dormant or on-dividing phase. G1 phase is characterized by active protein synthesis. Replication of DNA occurs only once in S phase and the chromosomes get doubled. That is, diploid genome gets converted into tetraploid. The entire process of new DNA synthesis takes place in about 8 to 10 hours, and a large number of DNA polymerases are simultaneously involved in this process. It is believed that the methylation of DNA serves as a marker to inhibit replication. The G2 phase is characterized by enlargement of cytoplasm, and this is followed by the actual cell division that occurs in the mitotic phase. Now let's know about cyclins and cell cycle. Cyclins are a group of proteins that are closely associated with the transition of one phase of cell cycle to another. Hence, they are so named. The most important cyclins are cyclin A, B, D, and E. The concentrations of cyclins increase or decrease during the course of cell cycle. These cyclins act on cyclin-dependent kinases that phosphorylate certain substances essential for the transition of one cycle to another. Cyclins and cyclin-dependent kinases are intimately connected with the progression of cell cycle. For instance, cyclin D levels rise in late G1 phase which activates CDK4 and CDK6. This results in the assembly of nuclear protein in a complex form in late G1 phase. Now let's know about cell cycle checkpoints. There occurs a continuous monitoring of the cell cycle with respect to DNA replication, chromosome segregation and integrity. If any damage to DNA is detected either in G1 or G2 phase of the cycle, or if there is a formation of defective spindle, the cell cycle will not progress until appropriately corrected. If it is not possible to repair the damage done, the cells undergo apoptosis. That means programmed cell death. Now let's know about cancer and cell cycle. Cancer represents an excessive division of cells. In cancer, a large quantities of cells are in mitosis and most of them in S phase. Majority of the drugs used for cancer therapy are designed to block DNA replication or inhibit the enzymes that participate in replication. Methotrexate, that is inhibits dihydrofolate reductase, and 5-fluorouracil, that inhibits thymidylate synthase, block nucleotide synthesis. In recent years, topoisomerase inhibitors are being used. They block the unwinding of parental DNA strands and prevent replication. Telomeres and telomerase. There are certain difficulties in the replication of linear DNAs of eukaryotic cells. The leading strand of DNA can be completely synthesized to the very end of its template. This is not possible with the lagging strand since the removal of the primer RNA leaves a small gap which cannot be filled. Consequently, the daughter chromosomes will have shortened DNA molecules. This becomes significant after several cell cycles involving replication of chromosomes. The result is that over a period of time, the chromosomes may lose certain essential genes and cell dies. This is, however, avoided to a large extent. Telomeres are the special structures that prevent the continuous loss of DNA at the end of the chromosomes during the course of replication. Thus, they protect the end of the chromosomes and are also responsible to prevent the chromosomes from fusing with each other. Telomeres are many repeat sequences of 6 nucleotides present at the end of the eukaryotic chromosomes. Human telomeres contain thousands of repeat TTAGGG sequences, which can be up to a length of 1500 base pair. Now, let's know about the role of telomerase. Telomeres are maintained by the enzyme telomerase, also called as telomere terminal transferase. Telomerase is an unusual enzyme as it is composed of both protein and RNA. In case of humans, the RNA component of 450 nucleotides in length and at the 5' terminal, and it contains the sequence 5' CUAA CCC UAA C 3' end. It may be noted that the central region of this sequence is complementary to the telomere repeat sequence, that is 5' TT A GGG 3' end. The telomerase RNA sequence can be used as a template for the extension of telomeres. The telomerase RNA base pairs to the end of the DNA molecule with telomerase and extends to a small distance. This translocation of telomerase occurs and a fresh extension of DNA takes place. This process of DNA synthesis and translocation is repeated several times until the chromosome gets sufficiently extended. The extension process gets completed through the participation of DNA polymerase and primase complex and sealing of the new DNA formed. It may be noted that here, as much as the telomeres do not encode proteins, hence, when extended by telomerase, they need not have to remain the same length, and some shortening will not pose any problem. During the course of repeated cell cycles, there occurs progressive shortening of telomeres, and this has to be prevented, which is appropriately carried out by telomerase. Now let's know about telomere in senescence and cancer. Evidence is now forthcoming that telomerase is not active in all the mammalian cells. This is mainly because cells that have undergone differentiation no longer divide or divide only to a limited extent. Telomerase is highly active in the early embryo, and after birth it is active in the reproductive and stem cells. Stem cells divide continuously throughout the lifetime of an organism to produce new cells. These cells in turn are responsible to tissues and organs in the functional stage. Example, hematopoietic stem cells of bone marrow. Many biologists link the process of telomere shortening with cell senescence. That is cell death. This is mainly based on the observations made in the in vitro mammalian cell cultures. However, some researchers question this relation between telomere shortening and senescence. Cancerous cells are able to divide continuously. There is a strong evidence to suggest that the absence of senescence in cancer cells is linked to the activation of the enzyme telomerase. Thus, telomere length is maintained throughout multiple cell divisions. It is, however, not clear whether telomere activation is a cause or an effect of cancer. This is, however, evidence to suggest that telomerase activation is in fact the cause of certain cancers. Example, dyskeratosis cognita due to a mutation in the gene responsible for the RNA component of telomerase. The enzyme telomerase is an active target for cancer chemotherapy. The drugs have been designed to inactivate telomerase and consequently induce senescence in the cancer cells. This is in turn prevents rapid cell proliferation. Now let's know about recombination. Recombination basically involves the exchange of genetic information. There is mainly two types of recombination. One is homologous recombination, second is non-homologous recombination. First is homologous recombination. Let's know about this. Homologous recombination. This is also called general recombination. And occurs between identical and nearly identical chromosomes, that is DNA sequences. The best example is the recombination between the paternal and maternal chromosomal pairs. Now, let's know about non-homologous recombination. This is regarded as illegitimate recombination and does not require any special homologous sequences. Transposition is a good example of non-homologous recombination. Random integration of outside genes into mammalian chromosomes is another example. Now let's know about homologous recombination. It is a known fact that the chromosomes are not passed on intact from generation to generation. Instead, they are inherited from both the parents. This is possible due to homologous recombination. Three models have been put forth to explain homologous recombinations. Holiday model, first is Holiday model, second is Michelson-Rading model, third is double strand break model. First is, let's know about Holiday model. Holiday model proposed by the scientist named Holiday in 1964 is the simplest among the homologous recombination models. The two homologous chromosomes come closer, get properly aligned, and form single strand breaks. This results in two aligned DNA duplexes. Now the strands of each duplex partly unwind and invert in the opposite direction to form two strands across between the DNA molecules. There occurs simultaneous unwinding and rewinding of the duplexes in such a way that there is no net change in the amount of base pairing, but the position of crossover moves. This phenomenon, referred to as branch migration, results in the formation of heteroduplex DNA. The enzyme DNA ligase seals the neck. The two DNA duplexes strands the two DNA duplexes joined by a single crossover point can rotate to create a four-stranded Holiday junction. Now, the DNA molecules are subjected to symmetrical cuts in either of two directions, and the cuts ends are resealed by ligase. The DNA exchange is determined by the direction of the cuts, which could be horizontal or vertical. If the cross strands are cut horizontally, the flanking genes remain intact and no recombination occurs. On the other hand, if the parental strands are cut vertically, the flanking genes get changed due to recombination. Now let's know about non-homologous recombination. The recombination process without any special homologous sequences of DNA is regarded as non-homologous recombination. Now let's know about transposition. Transposition primarily involves the movement of specific pieces of DNA in the genome. The mobile segments of DNA are called transposons or transposable elements. They were first discovered by Barbara McClinton in maize, and their significance was ignored for about 2 decades by two workers. Transposons are mobile and can move almost to any place in the target chromosome. There are two modes of transposition, one that involves an RNA intermediate and the other which does not involve RNA intermediate. Retrotransposition. Transposition involving RNA intermediate represents retrotranspositions. By the normal process of transcription of a copy of RNA forming from a transposition, then, then by the enzyme reverse transcriptase DNA is copied from the RNA. The newly formed DNA, which is a copy of the transposon, gets integrated into the genome. This integration may occur randomly on the same chromosome or on a different chromosome. As a result of transposition, there are now two copies of the transposition at different points on the genome. Now let's know about DNA transposition. Some transposons are capable of direct transposition of DNA to DNA. This may occur either by replicative transposition or conservative transposition. Both the mechanisms require enzymes that are mostly coded by the genes within the transposons. In the replicative transposition, A direct interaction occurs between the donor transposon and the target site to result in copying of the donor element. In case of conservative transposition, the transposon is excised and reintegrated at a new site. DNA transposition is less common than retrotransposition in case of eukaryotes. However, in case of prokaryotes, DNA transpositions are more important than RNA transpositions. Significance of transposition. Let's know about significance of transposition. It is now widely accepted that a large fraction of the human genome has resulted due to the accumulation of transpositions. Short interspersed element. Short interspersed elements, in short SINES, signs, are repeats of DNA sequences which are present in about 5 lakh copies per haploid human genome, that is ALU sequences. Long interspersed elements, that means LINES, are also repeated DNA sequences and are present in about 50,000 copies in human genome. Example, L1 elements. Some of the diseases caused by mutations are due to insertion of transposons into a genes. Now let's know about damage and repair of DNA. Being the carrier of genetic information, the cellular DNA must be replicated, maintained and passed down to the daughter cells accurately. In general, the accuracy of replication is extremely high. However, there do occur replication errors. It is estimated that approximately one error is introduced per billion base pairs during each cycle of replication. The cells do possess the capability of repair damages done to DNA to a large extent. Now let's know about consequences of DNA damage. Despite an efficient repair system for the damaged DNA, replication errors do accumulate that ultimately result in mutations. The human body possesses 10 to the power 14 nucleated cells, each with 3 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs of DNA. It is estimated that about 10 to the power 16 cell divisions occur in a lifetime. If 10 to the power minus 10 mutations per base pair, cell generation escape repair. This results in about 1 mutation per 10 to the power 6 base pairs in genome. Besides the possible errors in replication, the DNA is constantly subjected to attack by both physical and chemical agents. These include radiation, free radicals, chemicals, etc., which also result in mutations. It is fortune that a great majority of the mutations probably occur in the DNA that does not encode proteins and consequently will not have any serious impact on the organism. This is not, however, all the time true, since mutations do occur in the coding regions of DNA also. There are situations in which the change in a single base pair in the human genome can cause a serious disease called, example, sickle cell anemia. Now let's know about types of DNA damages. The damage done to DNA by physical, chemical and environmental agents may be broadly classified into 4 categories with different types. The DNA damage may occur due to single base alterations. Example, depurination, deamination. Two base alterations, example, pyrimidine and pyrimidine dimers. Chain breaks, example, ionizing radiation, and fourth one is cross linkage, example, between bases. Some selected the occurrence of spontaneous deamination bases in aqueous solution at 37 degrees centigrade is well known. Cytosine gets deaminated to form uracil while adenine forms hypoxanthine. Spontaneous depurination due to cleavage of glycosyl bonds also occurs. It is estimated that 2000 to 10,000 purines may be lost per mammalian cells in 24 hours. The depurinated sites are called as abasic sites. Originally, they are detected in purines and called apurinic sites, which represent lack of purine. Now, the term episites is generally used to represent any base lacking in DNA. The production of reactive oxygen species is often associated with alterations of bases. Example, formation of 8-dehydroxyguanine. Pre-radical formation and oxidative damage to DNA increases with advancement of age. Ultraviolet radiations result in the formation of covalent links between adjacent pyrimidines along the DNA strand to form pyrimidine dimers. DNA chain breaks can be caused by ionizing radiations. Example, X-rays. Now let's know about mutations. The genetic macromolecule DNA is highly stable with regard to its base composition and subsequence. However, DNA is not totally exempt from gradual change. A general picture of DNA damage and its repair is also here described. Mutation refers to a change in the DNA structure of a gene. The substance means chemicals. The chemicals which can induce mutations are collectively known as mutagens. The changes that occur in DNA on mutation are reflected in replication, transcription, and translation. Now let's know about types of mutations. Mutations are mainly of two major types, point mutation and frame shift mutations. First is point mutations. The replacement of one base pair by another results in point mutation. There are two subtypes. One is transitions and another is transversions. Transition means in this case a purine is replaced by another or a pyrimidine is replaced by another. Okay. And in transversion what happens? Here they are characterized by these are characterized by replacement of purine by a pyrimidine or vice versa. Now let's know about frame shift mutation. Second is frame shift mutations. These occur when one or more base pairs are inserted in or deleted from the DNA respectively causing insertion or deletion mutations. Now let's know about consequences of point mutations. First is the change in a single base sequence is in point mutation may cause silent mutation or missense mutation or nonsense mutation. We should know first of all we have to know about silent mutation. The codon of mRNA containing the changed base may code for the same amino acid. For instance, UCA codes for serine and change in the third base, that is UCA, still codes for serine. This is due to degeneracy of the genetic code. Therefore, there is no detectable effects in silent mutation. Missense mutation. Let's know about missense mutation. In this case, the changed base may code for a different amino acid. For example, UCA codes for serine while ACA codes for threonine. The mistaken amino acid may be acceptable, partially acceptable or unacceptable with regard to the function of protein molecule. Sickle cell anemia is a classical example of missense mutation. Now let's know about nonsense mutation. Sometimes the codon with the altered base may become a termination or nonsense codon. For instance, change in the second base of serine codon UCA may result in the UAA. The altered codon acts as a stop signal and causes termination of protein synthesis at that point. Now let's know about frame shift mutations. Consequences of frame shift mutations. The insertion or deletion of a base in a gene results in an altered reading frame of the mRNA. The machinery of mRNA does not recognize that a base was missing or a new base was added. Since there are no punctuations in the reading of codons, translations continues. The result is that the protein synthesized will have several altered amino acids, prematurely terminated protein. Now let's know about mutations and cancer. Mutations are permanently alterations in DNA structure which have been implicated in the etiopathogenesis of cancer. Now let's know about repair of DNA. Damage to DNA caused by replication errors or mutations may have serious consequences. The cell possesses an inbuilt system to repair the damaged DNA. There are four distinct mechanisms of repair of DNA. First is base excision repair. Second is nucleotide excision repair. Third is mismatch repair. Fourth is double strand break repair. First is base excision repair. The bases cytosine, adenine and guanine can undergo spontaneous depurination to respectively from uracil, hypoxanthine and xanthine. These altered bases does not exist in the normal DNA and therefore need to be removed. This is carried out by base excision repair. The defective DNA in which cytosine is deaminated to uracil is acted upon by the enzyme uracil DNA glycosylase. This results in the removal of the defective base uracil. An endonuclease cuts the backbone of DNA strand near the defect and removes a few bases. The gap so created is filled up by the action of repair DNA polymerase and DNA ligase. Now let's know about nucleotide excision repair. The DNA damage due to ultraviolet light, ionizing radiation and other environmental factors often results in the modification of certain bases, strand breaks, cross linkages, etc. Nucleotide excision repair is ideally suited for such large-scale defects in DNA. After the identification of the defective pieces of the DNA double helix is unwound to expose the damaged part. An excision nucleus cuts the DNA on either side of the damaged DNA. This defective piece is degraded. The gap created by the nucleotide excision is filled up by DNA polymerase which gets ligated by DNA ligases. Now let's know about xeroderma pigmentosum. XP is a rare autosomal recessive disease. These affected patients are photosensitive and susceptible to skin cancers. It is now recognized that XP is due to a defect in the nucleotide excision repair of the damaged DNA. Now let's know about mismatch repair. Despite high accuracy in replication, defects do occur when the DNA is copied. For instance, cytosine could be incorporated opposite to adenine. Mismatch repair corrects a single mismatch base pair, example C to A, and instead of T to A. The template strand of the DNA exists in a methylated form, while the newly synthesized strand is not methylated. This difference allows the recognition of the new strands. The enzyme GATC endonuclease cuts the strand at an adjacent methylated GATC sequence. This is followed by an exonuclease digestion of the defective strand and thus its removal. A new DNA strand is not now synthesized to replace the damaged one. Hereditary non-polyposis colon cancer (HNPCC) is one of the most common inherited cancers. This cancer is now linked with faulty mismatch pair of defective DNA. Now let's know about double strand break repair. Double strand breaks DSBs in DNA are dangerous. They result in genetic recombination which may lead to chromosomal translocation, broken chromosomes, and finally cell death. DSBs can be repaired by homologous recombination or non-homologous end joining. Homologous recombination occurs in yeast while in mammals non-homologous and joining dominates. Let's know about defects in DNA repair and cancer. Cancer develops when certain genes that regulate normal cell division fail or are altered. Defects in the genes encoding proteins involved in nucleotide excision repair, mismatch repair, and recombinational repair are linked to human cancers. For instance, as I already referred this HNPCC is due to a defect in mismatch repair. Thank you. Finally finished. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel, and any questions, any doubts can ask in the comment box. Thank you.